In recent periods, many opinions began to emerge about the pyramids of Giza. Some of them said that the age of the pyramids reaches 100,000 years, and some of them said that those who built the pyramids are ghosts or aliens. The facts that currently exist for most archaeologists declare that the pyramids were built to be royal tombs and to perpetuate the memory of the king in order to become a god in the other world. But on the other hand, many recent studies criticize this assumption and see it as completely illogical. The critics' words revolved around several questions. Why is a great edifice like the Great Pyramid being built in order to eventually become just a cemetery? Is it logical to transport 1 million stones and continue building the pyramid for a while? It exceeds 20 or 30 years in order for the king to be buried in it. And as long as the pyramids are tombs for kings, why were no bodies or mummies of kings found inside the coffins in the pyramids, and why also did we find the royal chambers in the Great Pyramid, for example, devoid of any funerary inscriptions, as was customary among the ancient Egyptians? And why did King Sneferu build 3 pyramids? Will he be buried in all 3? Therefore, some assumptions emerged about the main reason for building the pyramids, but these assumptions were this time devoid of illogical things such as aliens and ghosts. But the assumptions this time may seem logical to some, and these assumptions revolve around the theory that the pyramids were built in order to be power stations. Who are the proponents of this theory? And what are the most important evidence that they base on in communicating their theory, and were the pyramids really built for this reason? This is what we will try to answer in this video. One of the most important researchers who put forward this theory is engineer Christopher Dunn, who is considered one of the most famous manufacturing technology engineers. Whether in the USA or England, and with nearly 40 years of experience in manufacturing technology, Christopher Dunn was very fond of the Egyptian pyramids. Before his visit to the pyramids, he read many books about them, the most important of which was the book Secrets of the Great Pyramid, which describes the extraordinary engineering miracle in building the Great Pyramid, and from here Christopher Dunn began to believe that it is impossible to construct a great building like the Great Pyramid with this accuracy, so that in the end it will be just a cemetery for that. Certainly, this builder was a great machine for its time.
Christopher Dunn began publishing his theories to document them in the 2 most important books, namely the Giza Power Station, which was published in 1998, and the book Lost Technology in Ancient Egypt, which was published in 2010. These books are among their names based on the interpretation of the idea that the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids in order to be power stations. After studying for about 20 years, Christopher Dunn tells in the book Lost Technology in Ancient Egypt a very important story, which is that he went to the Egyptian Museum on an official holiday, specifically on Friday, and was present with him at the time, Dr. Zayahu was, one of the most famous Egyptologists, and he was also present, the director of the Egyptian Museum, and the interview was its main purpose. It proves to everyone that there was advanced technology in ancient Egyptian times, and Christopher Dunn asked that it be placed in one of the granite coffins that conveys its weight in tons, and then the coffin is covered with its original cover, and then the light is completely separated in the Egyptian Museum, and that it is sufficient to turn on a strong light source from a battery, for example, or any strong lighting source, and the light source is passed between the coffin and its lid. And indeed they carried out all his instructions, and after the light was turned on from the lighting source, and after passing the light 10 times between the coffin and its lid, it did not leak the beam of light into the coffin, and while Christopher Dunn was inside the coffin, and after they lifted the coffin cover from him, he went out into the middle of the museum and started shouting and saying, "This is space-era precision, because the granite sarcophagus and its cover are carved and leveled 100% accurately, to the extent that from the accuracy of their leveling, a simple ray of light could not penetrate the wall of the sarcophagus, and it is impossible, in one way or another, for the granite stones to be rinsed or leveled with such extreme precision using simple hand tools made of copper. So definitely there must be a very powerful machine that produces shock waves in order to be able to level the stones, especially the heavy ones. Such granite stones are exactly like the existing medical machines that break up kidney stones using shock waves. But the question remains, if shock waves existed in ancient Egyptian times, what is their source? Christopher Dunn answers this question through his theory, so he says in his book Lost Technology in Ancient Egypt. The idea of working the pyramid is exactly the same as the microphone. The sound emanating from the singer is mechanical vibrations, and the role of the microphone is to transform these vibrations by performing some operations with electrical energy that spreads through wires that are connected to a loudspeaker. From the previous explanation, we can understand the theory of building the pyramid as a power station, which was based on the following. Any continent, whether Africa, Asia, Europe, etc., God created it on something called tectonic plates. These plates are present under the earth, and these plates perform vibrations in the earth's crust, and these vibrations are what sometimes result in earthquakes, which reaches its degree from the first 3 to 9 Richter, but it is normal that the plates cause very light vibrations that may reach a quarter or half of the Richter, and here the pyramid begins to exploit these ground vibrations, the best exploitation of light vibrations in the earth's crust, which results in infrasound waves. Then the built spaces begin in the pyramid, with very calculated accuracy, in converting infrasound waves into ultrasound waves, and the ultrasound waves start hitting the granite stones in the king's room, which consists of about 55% silicon quartz, and at this moment the pyramid begins to generate collision energy, or what is called the piezoelectric effect, which can accurately cut granite or other stones. Which means that the pyramid exploits the ground vibrations to eventually turn them into energy, just like the microphone that exploits your voice, which is a group of mechanical vibrations and can then transform the energy. Christopher Dunn believes that this was not the only use of the energy from the pyramid at that time, because there are certainly other uses, but they are so far unknown. He and some other researchers also mentioned that the pyramids, in addition to being power plants, also act as astronomical observatories for the movement of the sky. Among the most famous scientists who put forward this idea also is Nikola Tesla, who is classified as one of the best physicists in history, and who is said to have unfortunately died in mysterious circumstances, and many of his inventions were stolen, including the invention of radio waves, for example, and you can imagine that Nikola Tesla would have implemented a larger and the most successful project that benefits all mankind is the transmission of electrical energy in the whole world wirelessly and for free. It is said that this is the main reason that led to his death in mysterious circumstances. But where did Nikola Tesla get the idea of creating free energy from? You can imagine that he was inspired by the Egyptian pyramids and actually started implementing a project that simulates his point of view on the idea of pyramids generating electrical energy. This project is the Wardenclyffe Tower, which is also called the Tesla Tower, which was the first nucleus for the start of the free energy or free energy project. The location of the Tesla Tower was chosen very carefully, which is similar to the same dimensions as the sites on which the Egyptian pyramids were built. The tower idea is simply that it benefits from the energy that is released by ground vibrations and is converted through the tower into free energy that is used in many fields, the most important of which is the generation of electrical energy free of charge and wirelessly. Tesla intended to establish many stations in the same style as his tower in order to spread energy all over the world without the need for wires, so it is sufficient only to have a receiver for this energy. Therefore, Tesla believed that the hierarchical system in ancient Egyptian times used to illuminate the entire Egyptian house using the energy that emanates from the pyramids, and not only that, but Tesla also added that the tunnels located next to the pyramids were connected to it, and these tunnels in ancient times were full of water, the source of which is the Nile River. These tunnels are tasked with speeding up the energy generation process, and this is because water speeds up the energy transfer process more than air. Unfortunately, in the end, the Tesla project was not completed, and this is due to the abandonment of the project financiers, who declared clearly and explicitly that if the free energy project was implemented, how can you install electricity meters in homes and reap profits from them? Even that the tower was later dismantled and Tesla died in mysterious circumstances and was cancelled the project. But the question remains, is the talk about the energy of the pyramids over? The answer is of course not, as two researchers, the first of whom is the Russian archaeological researcher David Wilcock, and the second is a Ukrainian physicist named Vladimir Krasnohovich, and these researchers spent about 10 years studying the effect of the energy of hierarchical shapes on several things, and their studies were on some hierarchical forms built in Russia and Ukraine, and they reached at the end of their studies. The hierarchical shapes have a very many effects, whether on health, the economy, and many things, including the following. First, they brought many agricultural seeds of different crops before planting them, and placed these seeds inside a pyramidal shape for 1 or 5 days. At the same time, they put other seeds, but they were not placed inside a pyramidal shape. After planting all the seeds, they found that the seeds that were placed inside the pyramidal shape increased the size of crop production by approximately 20% to 100%. Secondly, they injected a group of mice with carcinogenic toxins. Normally, these toxins are supposed to kill 60% of the mice at least, but after putting the mice under the influence of the pyramids, only 6% of them died, and this means that the pyramid shapes can reduce the risk of disease, from the point of view these scholars. Thirdly, scientists found that pyramid shapes contribute to improving the immune system and increase the number of white blood cells in the blood. Fourth, the scientists found that the hierarchical shapes have a positive effect on oil production, because the oil extracted from the areas next to the hierarchical shapes is less viscous by 30%. Fifthly, the scientists placed several capacitors inside the hierarchical shapes and found that they charge automatically. Fifthly, scientists found that seismic activity near pyramidal shapes decreases in strength significantly. Therefore, many energy healers are advised to put hierarchical shapes inside the house, because it treats depression, creates a healthy environment inside the house, and creates positive energy, from their point of view. At the end of this documentary, we would like to stress that all that is mentioned in it are just theories that have not been proven 100% true so far, and the coming years may reveal many other facts to us, but it is certain that the Egyptian pyramids will remain one of the biggest mysteries throughout history, and they certainly still hide many secrets.